The next concept is law of mass action. The name itself indicates law mass is this mass is nothing but concentration. So concentration is more, the rate of reaction is more. That is what this law is going to emphasize. So dear student, this law is very important because in the next classes we are going to derive integrated rate expression for zero order, first order, second order reaction. So there we are going to use this law, and every we are going to start every derivation with the law of mass action. That's why it's very important. So please concentrate on it. So this law of mass action states that according to this law, the rate of a chemical reaction is directly proportional to the product of active masses of reactant. So that means the rate of a reaction is proportional to concentration of reactant or the product of active masses of reactant. It is called as this law of mass action. That means that is very simple. So in the previous class I gave an example of reaction between calcium carbonate and HCl. There take two test tube and in two test tube take the same quantity of in two test tube take zero point 0.5 gram in one test tube, take 1 gram in another test tube, and to the both the test tube, for the first test tube add 2 ml sulfuric acid, dilute sulfuric acid, and the second one had 5 ml sulfuric acid. You just observe. So there we found that in the second one the rate of reaction is high. The reaction is highly vigorous compared to the first one. Why? Because there more amount of reactant, that is the concentration of reactant is more in that case. Because of that we can conclude that the rate of a reaction is directly proportional to the product of active masses of concentration. Why we use the product? If it is only if there are two reactant, the product of concentration of reactant is proportional to rate of a reaction. That means rate of reaction depends on both the reactant. So mathematically it can be represented like this. Let us consider a reaction. So here A and B are the reactant, and small a and small b, these are stoichiometric coefficients of the reactant. So now let us consider this rate of a reaction is directly proportional to this concentration term. Okay, if you indicate anything within the square bracket, so it indicates concentration. So this is called as concentration term. And so this is the power A and power B. Then to remove this proportionality, we introduce a proportionality constant K, where K is called as rate constant or velocity constant of a reaction. So this is called as law of mass action, and dear students, you must able to write law of mass action for every reaction. So now I have written general reaction. So just by looking the reaction, you must able to write the rate expression. That is rate of reaction is equal to rate constant into, here there are two reactant, right? Both the reactant, and so and their stoichiometric coefficient becomes the power of the concentration term. Actually this is a theoretically theoretical rate expression. There are two rate expression, theoretical and practical. I will discuss it later. But law of mass action, it's very simple. The rate of reaction is proportional to concentration of a reactant. Mathematically, so the law of mass action can be written like this. That is rate of reaction is equal to K into concentration terms of power A and concentration of B power B. So now observe these reactions. So first reaction, phosphorus pentachloride undergo decomposition gives phosphorus trichloride and chlorine. In this reaction, so only one reactant molecule is involved. That's why it is called as unimolecular reaction. Observe the second reaction. Two molecules of hydrogen iodide undergo dissociation, it gives hydrogen and iodine gas. So here there are two reactant molecules which are involved in an elementary reaction. So this is a elementary reaction. Elementary reaction means a reaction, uh, it's a one step reaction, that is the overall reaction is called as elementary reaction. So this is bimolecular reaction because it contains two reactant molecules. Observe this reaction: when two molecules of sulfur dioxide combine with one molecule of oxygen, it gives two molecules of sulfur trioxide. So this is the balanced equation. This is a balanced equation, and here two sulfur dioxide and one oxygen molecules are involved. Totally 3 moles of reactants are involved in a reaction. That's why this is trimolecular reaction. And in this reaction, one nitrogen monoxide, one ozone. So totally 1 plus 1 2 bimolecular reaction, 2 carbon monoxide, 1 oxygen, totally 3 trimolecular reaction, and 2 ferric chloride and stannic chloride, 1 molecule of stannic chloride, 2 plus 1 3 trimolecular reaction. So this is called molecular. I think you understood molecularity. Now let us define molecularity. So it is defined as, it is the minimum number of moles of reactant required for the reaction. It is called as molecularity of the reaction. It's very simple concept. Okay, write elementary reaction and balance the reaction, and take the sum of the stoichiometric coefficient of the reaction, and it will give one whole number. That whole number is nothing but molecularity. If the whole number is 1, it is unimolecular, and if it is 2, bimolecular, if it is 3, trimolecular reaction. And it's a theoretical concept. It doesn't have any experimental background. So just we are writing reaction, balancing, then we are going to write predict its molecularity, and it is applicable only in case of elementary reaction, because some reactions passing via 2 to 3 steps. If you write the mechanism, you will get the number of steps. So for those steps, this molecularity concept is not applicable. It is applicable only for a final overall elementary reaction, and it is always an integer. Next, order of a reaction. This order of a reaction, it is not a theoretical concept. It is an experimental concept. This order of a reaction mainly going to explains the relationship between concentration of the reactant and rate of a reaction. Okay, for example, let us consider a reaction. Let us take one test tube. Let us take one test tube, and to the test tube add around 10 ml of dilute sulfuric acid, 10 ml of HCl, and add pinch of calcium carbonate. Add pinch of calcium carbonate. You just observe this reaction. At that moment it react and it liberate carbon dioxide gas. This is what you observed. So here the rate of a reaction is not depends on HCl, because HCl present in large quantity. At that moment, so the rate of reaction depends only on calcium carbonate. So that moment this is a first order reaction, because the rate of reaction depends on only one reactant, that is calcium carbonate. That's why it is first order reaction. Suppose if you take same amount of HCl and calcium carbonate, at that moment both HCl and calcium carbonate are important. Okay, so once again dear student, during the reaction between HCl and calcium carbonate, if you take same amount of HCl and calcium carbonate, at that moment the rate of reaction depends on both HCl and calcium carbonate. So at that moment it depends on two reactant molecule. That's why it is second order. But during the presence of one of the reactant in a large quantity and one in a small quantity, at that moment the rate depends on the reactant which is present in small quantity. So this order is an experimentally obtained concept. We cannot judge it theoretically. So let us observe this reaction. So the rate of reaction is proportional to a power 0. 0 means what? The rate of reaction is do not depends on concentration. For example, you observe photochemical reaction. The photochemical reaction, even though abundant amount of carbon dioxide, water is present with the plant, photosynthesis do not happens. Photosynthesis happens only when sunlight falls on it, because sunlight, it contains chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is called as photosensitizer. It absorb radiation, and it acts as a catalyst in which water combined with carbon dioxide, it gives glucose. This is photosynthesis. There it do not depends on amount of concentration of water and carbon dioxide. It depends on sunlight. That's why it is zero order reaction. Once again, dear students, order of a reaction explain the dependence of rate of reaction on only concentration, not other factor. Okay, suppose if the reaction depends on light, so it is zero order reaction. So photoelectric effect, so not photoelectric effect, photosynthesis is best example for zero order reaction. It is depends on amount of sunlight falls on a plant. And let us consider this reaction. So here rate of reaction is proportional to, okay, so only one reactant, okay, power 1. So this is a first order reaction, and here rate of reaction is directly proportional to a square, that is this is a second order reaction. That is, so this is one reactor. If two reactant molecule is present, so rate of reaction is directly proportional to a power a and b power b. If a is equal to 2 and b is equal to 0 means what? Rate of a reaction doubles with respect to a, and rate of reaction doesn't affect in the presence of b. At that moment, rate of a reaction is equal to, so it is the sum of 2 plus 0 is equal to 2. So this is the second order reaction. So this is the experimental fact. So how we come to know a square? Through experiment we identify the rate of reaction doubles, and this doubles with respect to a, and rate of reaction does not is independent with respect to b and depends on a. That's why b power 0. How we have got this value from the experiment? It's not theoretical value. Even though amount of b is needed, the rate is independent with respect to b. That's why b power 0. That's why the rate of a reaction is defined as, so the rate of a reaction is nothing but it is the sum of the powers of concentration term in an experimentally determined rate equation. It is called as an order of a reaction. It's very simple. So this is experimentally determined rate expression. So in that rate expression, if you take the sum of a and b, what are a and b here? A and b are the powers of concentration terms. So it is the sum of the powers of concentration terms of experimentally determined rate equation. It is called as order of a reaction. Now let us see some of the examples of order of a reaction. And this order of a reaction can be a 0, and it can be a fractional number or whole number also. And this order of a, as I told, this is an experimental determined concept. Theoretically we can't predict it. Okay, and just you observe this example, this N2O5 nitrogen dinitrogen pentoxide, it gives tetroxide and it liberates oxygen. This is a first order reaction, because the rate of reaction, if you write the rate expression, rate of a reaction is equal to K into rate constant into N2O5. I will write one rate expression. You have to write rate expression for the rest of the reaction, power 1. So this is experimentally determined rate expression. So that's why the order is 1. So the order of reaction generally written as small n. Small n indicates order of a reaction. And similarly, decomposition of hydrogen peroxide, first order reaction. Hydrogen iodide, it's a second order reaction. And some fraction order reaction also there. So this chloroform reacts with chlorine, it gives carbon tetrachloride plus HCl. This is a fraction order reaction.